Lots to talk about. And, I just did that video. And, I was gonna do like a bigger, Coach and Galore Show episode 30. I was gonna do that. But, sometimes I think it's better just to stay on topic. Like, I rant, I'll keep going off topic, and I'll keep, and then some other thread of thought strikes me, and I'll talk about that for another 15 minutes. Then, it's like the Trump weave, it's like the Trump weave. No, I'm not saying it's bad. It's a good thing because all stories are that way. Stories are never straightforward. Like it's a Trumpian weave. I've always been like that. One strand connects to the other connects to the other. Then it all makes sense, but only if you have brains enough to analyze it. Not if you got shit for brains. But, the type of women that gaslight you. Now, we spoke about gaslighting, and I'll be honest, every woman that can will try and gaslight you in some way, but there's a specific type that'll do that. Nick Fuentes, he was streaming about My Body, My Choice. Nick Fuentes, all he was doing was streaming. He wasn't saying anything, he wasn't attacking anybody. All he was doing was streaming. A woman shows up at his house with pepper spray, or not with pepper spray, but with ill intentions to, I don't know if it was to kill him, probably, you never know. And all he did was he defended himself, and he had to go to, he was charged with assault. Now they released him because obviously she came to his house and, it was all on CCTV and it was all captured. The type of women that do My Body, My Choice are the type of women that'll have abortions at 9 months of age. When the fetus is 9 months, they'll have abortions then. The type of women that scream about My Body, My Choice are the same women that treat other women brutally. When they hire them as household help, they will literally insert objects into their vagina. You can research this if you don't believe me. They'll throw their food into the commode, and they'll make young underage girls eat off of that. Research it if you don't believe me. The type of woman that does My Body, My Choice is a Nazi feminist that, will go off of birth control without telling her partner, husband, boyfriend, whatever the hell it is, just to pop out a kid for her own security when the guy wasn't even sleeping with her. The type of woman that will gaslight you, and why do women gaslight? Gaslighting, they do it to evoke emotion. Now, for me, it doesn't evoke much emotion in me. But I stick to facts. But most guys will get very angry. Then it'll lead to a physical confrontation. Why don't men gaslight? Men don't gaslight because, let's be honest, beyond a certain point, the man is going to get punched in the face. With a woman, and Chuck was actually right about this, you can't just smack her on the head. You can't hit her, right? So they get away with bloody murder, With a man, I'm not saying with a man every discussion has to be physical. In fact, most of my discussions with men are very logical. And they all call me Mr. Raoul, and they all call me all these beautiful names, all these upper-class guys. And I'll mention that, middle-class, upper-class, they all simp. And, but with a woman, they know you can't smack them on the head. Any man. It could be anyone. It's not fair, but it's, that's how feminist society is. But I've been accused so often, all your girls are lower class girls. And the type of women that'll accuse you of this? They're lower class themselves. They got married, and this is my ex actually, via fake marriage certificates using my money because their parents wouldn't give them any documents, so they couldn't get genuine ones made. They're the type of women that when you get a letter of separation, they'll claim it doesn't exist. When you send them money, later on they'll turn around and claim, and that's all women, they'll claim you never did it. Despite the bank records showing that you sent X amount of money. If she has to admit it, what she'll do is then she'll say it wasn't enough. Then you ask them, why wasn't it enough? Or why didn't you say it wasn't enough? And she'll say, sir, but then you shouldn't have taken it. You know, they're the same type of women that will actively get married. They will ruin families and, they will play the mother against the father. And the mother's smart. Women are smart. Women understand interpersonal dynamics between men and women very well. Most men don't. And so the dad doesn't understand. He thinks her shit doesn't stink, and he gives her all, he keeps giving her whatever she wants. It could be anything, And she openly brags about it to the household help that I don't talk to the dad, I just talk to the mom. This is the kind of woman that will gaslight you. It's very common. Women all like that, and I've spoken about it, this topic of women and household help. Like, technically, and they all yell about me having female slaves, while the slaves willingly call me master. Okay, they all whine about this. So then, logically, if hubby porn star can't hire women, according to these geniuses that have shit for brains, then they should not talk to men either. But it's a double standard. Women, by society, are still, everybody knows the reality. But society up front is so hypocritical that they paint these women out to be pure as the driven snow, even though behind the scenes everyone knows the reality. That is the type of woman, and these are just a few examples, Mark the African silverback gorilla made a fantastic comment years ago about my own ex-wife that I don't know if she realizes how detrimental she has been, how she has totally ruined your relationship. And women don't realize that. Women think whatever they're doing is right, any woman. The type of woman that will gaslight is a woman that gets triggered by me wearing running shorts, but women can wear skimpy attire. Then these same women will turn around and say, oh, we got raped, men are so bad. And I'm not saying rape is right. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying, you have to, if men are so bad and if men are animals, then you should take some basic precautions. Oh, we shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. In utopia, you wouldn't have to. But unfortunately, we don't live in utopia. The type of woman that will gaslight you is the woman, when a robber breaks into your house, she will want to call a man to fix the situation. She will not call a woman. But she'll gaslight you saying, oh, but feminism, this and that, I could give you so many examples of this, man. For a man, the best way to deal with gaslighting, is simply filter out the bullshit. For me, it's very easy because I do everything very openly. What you see is what you get. But most men, they have these hidden fantasies. They have these hidden things, Like I spoke about, I got shamed, or someone tried to shame me this morning for prostrate massage. And not that I get it done, but I write about it and I've recommended it to people because I know a lot about it. And, I mentioned in my last TikTok about the conversation I had with the guy who was doing audiobooks for me. And supposedly that was, it's a perfectly normal thing, This is why men get so shamed when people call them gay. Like, you call a woman a lesbian, she's not going to be shamed, because that society accepts that. But This is what I keep telling people on the sexuality website. Be comfortable with your innermost desires. Be comfortable with what you really want in life. Be comfortable with all of it. Because if you're not comfortable with it, let's see, are we still... Alright, because this damn thing keeps switching on and off. But if you're not comfortable with it, it's never gonna work, you know. There's no half measures. Like, it's always going to be this fake thing of, you know. But let's see. I think I covered all my points. But let's see if I did. Yeah, I think that's it. For a man, the best way to deal with gaslighting, man, is just to completely... I'm not saying ignore it, but pick out the parts where the person gaslighting you is trying to shame you the most. David Goggins, this is why I keep praising David Goggins. When he says he took his own life, and this is what he also recommends, take your own life, no matter how fucked up it is, and put it on the busiest 4-lane highway in the world, which is what I've always done. I've always been very open. I've always been, you know, what you see is what you get. But when he said fucked up, he meant as people perceive it. Okay? That is what he meant. Now, whether it really is fucked up or not, you know, that is a discussion that only ultimately God has a say over, because good and evil, right and wrong, you know, only God can decide what's good, what's bad, you know. But you have to be honest, and the type of woman that gaslights you is not only dishonest, but has so many mental problems, mental issues, and sometimes, you know, I'm involved, but this is a very common thing, you know. It isn't one specific person. It isn't one specific woman. I'm just giving you examples. I could give you other examples. Women I've not been married to. So, you know. But then, I've never had a problem with any woman. You know, I keep getting accused of this and that. And, you know, you did this in China. My ex sent me an email that I hope they put you in jail for rape. And I'm like, what? I didn't. I'm a pal brahmachari. I don't even have sex. And I mean, when I don't have sex, it's a problem that he's gay. And, you know, because she wanted it 3 times a night and I wouldn't give it to her. And when I do have sex, that's the problem. You know, it's weird. You know, they can't decide, you know. They can't decide in their own mind, you know, what it is. They'll play the father against the mother. They'll play the father against the son. The father falls for it. It's very common. I see it all around me. Not in all families, but, you know, vast majority. And even if the families, which are outwardly normal, like men don't get attacked for having, you know, female household help and all that, they're all fat and out of shape, but it's all ultimately controlled by a woman, if you really deeply analyze it. So she, like, even with me, all, you know, that last story of the, you know, my female slave that openly calls me master, that I was accused of cheating with, I didn't even notice her until I was once asked by my ex to speak to her about something like some cleaning or something. You know, it was... that aside, though, rich and poor. I've spoken about this concept many times before. Now, I don't talk to people in general, but if I talk to people, it's rich and poor. Women that gaslight you by saying you're only going to be with this woman because she does something for you, well, why are you with a man? Because obviously he does something for you. It's that simple. Women are extremely cold-blooded and logical. They're psychopaths by default, and they're Satan. They're evil. It is what it is. And evil can be good. I've explained that concept. And because Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote about this law of compensation. You know, I'd rather the evil be up front, but around the corner. And he wrote it in much better language than I could ever write it in. I'm a very eloquent poet, better than Tagore, but I'm not better than Emerson. Emerson was, he should break the laws of compensation. That, you know, so a rich and poor thing that, everything in life is transactional, man. This is why I get all the goods, because women identify with that. I've given you so many examples of the romantic stuff, not working. That woman that keeps asking me, please buy me a phone, this, that, and the cop hankering after her. He wants to buy her a phone, but she won't accept it because, she doesn't like him, and, he's gonna keep, chasing her with gay bullshit and all. Of course, she's hypocritical, and he won't, and she won't admit it. So she says, buy me a new phone, and I'm like, well, then answer me honestly. Do you like me? Yes or no? And she won't answer, which obviously equal and opposite. That means yes. That's pretty obvious, And she keeps telling me, help me move out, like this, that, this. I'm like, ask the guy that's chasing you, fuck. But she won't do. That's women. So all that story about, her domestic abuse and all that, I don't know if that's actually happening because I haven't heard the man's side of it. And it doesn't make sense that if she's paying the bills, and, her husband doesn't work, her son doesn't work, but she still keeps them. I mean, the only answer I can come to think of is society and hypocrisy. And she's scared of the hypocrisy, which might be true, I don't know. Gaslighting, yes. And rich and poor. Yeah, that's the last thing I want to cover. Hey, it's very simple. I've been with so many rich girls, and you cocks like Fat Ben, get so triggered because some feminist says, no, they're sex workers. No, they're not sex workers. Not to mention women are ultimately all sex workers anyway, because they use their sexuality to get what they want. It's perfectly natural. It's got nothing to do with, it's not something to be ashamed of. But when you call a woman a sex worker, she gets, I don't know, but that's what women are. They use their sexuality. That's the only weapon, and, that they have, their sexuality. Men chase women. Women are the prize. And men chase women because of sex. It's that simple. I don't know why this concept triggers so many people, and that's what women are by default. They're all sex workers at a certain level. So they got so triggered, and these were actually rich girls that were paying me a lot of money for me to teach them English. These were rich girls that used to take me on holidays and vacations and, all kinds of fancy stuff. They'd give me all kinds of beautiful Chinese green tea, which I had never tried, the fanciest beer. They took me to 5-star hotels, and I ate so much that I couldn't eat anything for 2 more days, but that's a different topic. And these are all very verifiable tales. Then these same type of women that gaslight will turn around and attack the other woman. That why is she doing it? But when you ask that same woman the why question, she's not going to answer it. That's how hypocritical society is. As for me, rich or poor, at least they're more real than the middle class, which is the least rich. These type of women will ask you, why don't you just hang out with, or, your own middle class, which I guess, I don't know, do I fit into rich, poor, middle, upper, lower? I don't know what I fit into. I don't think I fit into any bracket. But it's very simple. The middle class is the most hypocritical. They're fat, they're out of shape, and they're the most hypocritical, the men and the women, because they want to be rich, but they can't be rich, because their mentality requires a shift. The poor and the rich. Now, the rich got rich by being real, in most cases. I'm not talking about inherited family wealth and all that. And the poor, they want to get rich, so they have to be real. But in either case, they're real, and I identify with that. Then these same people, these same type of women, nobody respects them. Society doesn't respect them. Could be my ex, could be any of these cat ladies, could be Karen, could be any of these cat ladies you see on Twitter and, whining about everything. Even other women don't respect them at the core, people come up to me and constantly ask me, your marriage, how is it? Why does she do this? Why does she? I'm like, I don't know. There's no marriage. There's a letter of separation, and I show it to them. And it is what it is. And then they'll accuse you. They'll withhold your marriage certificates. They won't give you access to the pictures because they think there's no other way you can get a divorce. And they're right in that it's very hard to get a divorce that way. But not if the marriage is fake. If it's fake, it's very simple. You simply get a letter of separation based upon that. And you can prove it's fake because the certificate, and I have copies of it, I just don't have the original because, it's very simple. The certificate shows an address that neither one of us has ever been to, neither one of us actually know it. So it's fake. Now, you can bring lawyers in, you can do what you like. I simply paid some money, I got it done. It's that simple. The same way I got my certificate done, which I had to pay some money for that, and yeah, that's the type of woman that'll gaslight you. And women will all do this by default. So it's inbuilt into every woman, power struggles, The reason I didn't put all this into episode number 30, which we still haven't done, is because sometimes, the same thing I mentioned, I talk a lot, man, and sometimes I just want to try and stick on topic. And I believe I've done that for the most part for this video. But I believe I've done it. I don't know. But we'll put it out there. And let's see, did I miss anything? Oh yeah, the type of woman. So if you don't know about this, you're literally living under a rock. The type of woman that'll leave a man when he has nothing, but then 10 years later, he has something. And there's so many cases of this publicly in the media, and people still deny it. And then she'll turn around and say, he left me, he was this, he was that, and she's going to say, I never left him, I still love him, because she wants his money. Simple. Then the type of woman that will gaslight you is, okay, let's say man beats woman, could be a hotel room, could be a bar, could be the road, could be a house, could be, literally, as a man, if you talk to a girl and you get to then a certain level of global recognition or finance, let's say in fitness, like I'm an influencer and I got, all the AIs know me, everybody knows me in fitness, and I do all this. In sexuality, they know me even better. But let's say it gets a lot bigger. And so let's say I met this girl, any girl, 10 years ago, right? And it was all consensual. In fact, she paid for everything. I didn't pay a dime. But somebody could then, if they really wanted to attack me, the system or whatever, they could then turn around and pressure that girl. And women can't take any pressure. Women can only take what's handed to them on a platter. They have no ability to handle pressure. They crumble instantly. Most men can't either. Most males can't either. But anyway, so quite literally, any girl you talk to as a man, somebody could turn around and attack you for that. Anybody. And they're going to gaslight you. But yeah, all these cases in the media, man, I mean, you see, boy meets girl, it's consensual, they sleep together, then boy reaches a certain level of money, certain level of recognition, certain level of whatever it is. Because women all have the status. And, it's these women that never actually get any status because they don't know how to do it and they won't learn. But anyway, so then she'll say, I took back consent. And the courts will not accept it, okay, admittedly, they'll throw it out, but they'll listen to it. How could a court even not listen? How could a court even listen to something this illogical? Person X meets person Y. They sleep together. It's consensual. Okay? At that time, there's no problem. Then 10 years later, person Y or person X gets to that certain level, and the woman will say, he raped me. I take back my consent. How the hell can you take back your consent? I mean, if he actually did something wrong, this is blindingly simple. I don't know why I have to explain this. Then she should have called the police right then, but she didn't. Okay. And there's CCTV evidence, there's footage, but the courts will still listen to all that. You know, it's just hypocritical garbage. Gaslighting itself is hypocrisy. It evokes emotion in most males. Uh, when I get gaslit, and it happens sometimes, and I gave you an example of that, I kind of like it because then I can fight, I can use the laws of the universe to. I told you last night I was, sitting there, having fun, Tigress video and all that. I watched all that, and but ultimately the crocodile won. He took two of her cubs, which I love tigers, but I don't know what that tigress was doing in water that deep. But there's a reason crocodiles show up in my dream all the time. Snakes don't, crocodiles do. I've never quite understood it, but it's me. I'm lurking. I'm always there. You don't see it, but it's always there. And when it attacks, it's total lunar mode attack. Well, crocodiles are neither lunar or solar, or maybe they are, I don't know. Tigers are a blend of both. And I told you, how that then ended up to the conflagration that I kind of ignited. I'm a bad boy, man. I'm a bad boy. That's why the girls all like me. But it's what it is, getting gaslit in today's society is pretty normal if you're a remotely masculine man. If you're a man like me who does everything openly, doesn't hide anything, doesn't, You look at Fat Ben. He tried to gaslight me in his own stupid style. Oh, a guy that posts pictures of his feet. Well, hey, women post pictures of their feet all the time. Why can't I? I got prettier feet than women. And women get triggered by that because other women will say it. I make money off of it. They pay me for it, And being a millionaire was never a goal for me. And it still isn't. I mean, being an influencer or somebody in the sexuality business was never a goal for me. They'll gaslight you by saying, oh, you just talk a bunch of bullshit. Well, if I just talk a bunch of bullshit, why does the AI recognize me? Why are you guys like Fat Ben so scared of me? Why do you copy me? Why do you ape me? Why do you read what I have to say? Why do you listen to me? It's that simple. Because the ring of truth. There's something called the ring of truth, and gaslighting stinks of the worst kind of dishonesty. Not that there's any good or bad kind of dishonesty, it's all dishonesty. But gaslighting that's the worst kind of hypocrisy and dishonesty in many ways. And, that's what people say. Fat Ben, he can't do 25 pull-ups in 1 set. I mean, and yet the AI says I can, yet people say I can. Everybody says, they come and say, hey, Mr. Raoul, this guy that I, the guy that wanted me to train him, and he keeps making excuses. Sometimes his mom is in the hospital, sometimes something else. He met me today. He's like, good morning, sir. And I'm like, and I don't make these things up, man. I can give you his number. You can talk to him. And he's like, I'm so sorry I didn't get back. And there's no point discussing with him because he's never going to do anything. Like with the other girl that wanted me to train her on fitness, she just wanted free information and conversation because you know the story with her and her husband, right? Oh, by the way, they're all middle-class people, and so I stay away from them. But law of attraction, huh? That bitch you run away from chases you. Not that I run away from them, but, in the girl's case, the husband asked her to, give her a divorce, and she did because he's a cock. She doesn't like it. In my case, that didn't happen. Well, we all know why it didn't, but these things are very common as a man so I explained the rich and poor again, and as a man, the only thing you can do is, and the only thing you should do is learn how to be a tantric, learn how to use the laws of the universe, learn how to manifest. And it's not wearing beads, chains, mantras, amulets. You could be locked up in a room for like 10 years, but you can still manifest, Look at Dr. Lecter. It's that simple, Like, to me, I'm always told, a certain ex, my family, whoever the hell it is, because they all sit around and talk about, my so-called fetishes, when I don't even have sex. Make any sense, huh? So I tell them, go post it on Facebook, and they didn't, so I didn't. I do it openly, There's nothing to be ashamed of, man. Even if you're gay, even if you're LGBTQ, so long as you don't do pride rallies and bring it out in public and say we're coming to take your kids, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be, embarrassed about. Hey, there's football players that like to wear pink panties in bed. I actually know of one. And he's not so famous. He's not in the NFL, but, college football guy. So all these gaslighting techniques only really work if you're a weak man. For me, I've been gaslit all my life. I learned how to deal with it very quickly, very easily. Cold, hard logic. Because women will yell, women will say the nastiest things they can. It won't even make any sense. And again, the reason is you can't just smack them on the head. With a man, the reason men never say anything to me, because with any man, any two men, any three men, whatever, it'll get physical. That's just what it is, and if it gets physical and one man gets hurt, it's like tigers, right? I mean, not that all men are tigers, but tigers in the wild will avoid each other because they don't want the risk of either one getting injured. But yeah, when they fight, it's ferocious. It's ferocious. Have you ever seen two male tigers fighting? People say lions are ferocious fighters. You should look at the fucking tigers, buddy. So maybe we'll put this on the show, episode 30. Yeah. For once, hubby porn star Mr. Raul, Emperor Sir, call me whatever you want, has stayed on topic. Clap, clap, clap. But, yeah. I mean, my first Twitter account, a whole bunch of women tried to gaslight me, and, that led to the account finally getting banned and all those things. I'm here to tell you, everybody, gaslight me, ban me, do what you can. What they really want is for me to shut up and stop speaking the truth, but I'm not going to. And, that's what it is. See y'all later, episode 30.